Long years ago, we made a tryst with destiny, and now the time comes when we shall redeem our pledge, not wholly or in full measure, but very substantially. At the stroke of the midnight hour, when the world sleeps, India will awake to life and freedom.
It was an August midnight when the people of India collected in large groups to hear Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru's Tryst with Destiny speech. The atmosphere was electrifying and the radio was the center of attraction. One of the enduring images of my childhood is of my father and his friends listening to Lal Bahadur Shastri's speech during the 1965 war.
ये जो स्वराज्य आया है उसे हम मजबूती से अपने पास रखेंगे ताकि कोई दूसरा हमारी तरफ टेढ़ी नज़र भी उठाकर देखे तो हम उसका पूरी तरह से मुकाबला कर सकें। मैं आपसे कहूँगा कि दो नारे आज लगें, दो नारा अगर आप लगाएं तो वही असली नारा है आज देश की ज़रूरत के मुताबिक, और फिर उसी से सारे देश का एक जय हिंद का नारा लगता है। एक तो जय जवान, जय जवान, जय जवान, जय किसान, जय किसान, जय किसान, जय हिंद।
Just a few days back, Dad had purchased a Murphy radio set with its fancy piano wave bands just to keep track of the Indo-Pak war developments. I was a teenager in Bangalore when Mrs. Gandhi went on the radio to respond to Pakistan's aggression with the announcement of an all-out war to liberate Bangladesh.
वीर सेनानी भाइयों, आप राष्ट्र की स्वतंत्रता और सम्मान की रक्षा के लिए साहस और वीरता से युद्ध कर रहे हैं। पूरा देश आपकी सराहना करता है। सारे देशवासी आपके पीछे खड़े हैं। आज सभी क्षेत्रों, सभी भाषाओं, सभी धर्मों के लोगों और सभी राजनीतिक दलों में पूरी एकता है। आपकी तरह वे भी आक्रमणकारी को पराजित करने के लिए पक्का इरादा किए हुए हैं। हमारी 55 करोड़ जनता आपके लक्ष्य में और चुनौती का सामना करने की आपकी क्षमता पर असीम विश्वास रखती है। शत्रु ने एक धार्मिक युद्ध का झूठा और ख़तरनाक नारा लगाया है। बांग्लादेश की जनता ने, जिसमें अधिकतर इस्लाम को मानने वाले हैं, इस्लामाबाद के फौजी शासन को उचित जवाब दिया है। आप और हम इस महान सिद्धांत के लिए लड़ रहे हैं कि सभी धर्मों के लोग हमारे बराबर के भाई हैं।
Those were the days when radio broadcast could keep its audiences mesmerized despite the absence of melodramatic broadcasting personnel, not just on momentous occasions but also during everyday life. Radio pervaded our lives even as we attended to our daily work without let or hindrance. TV doesn't allow us to do anything except sit in front of it and become couch potatoes. And whereas the radio had an advantage, you could listen to the programs, enjoy them, in fact sort of relate to them even as you go around doing your personal or professional work. When one looks at the news media scenario today, one can't help but parody the famous lines from the classic A Tale of Two Cities by Charles Dickens. For Indian audiences, these are the best of times, these are the worst of times. It is the age of wisdom, it is the age of foolishness, it is the epoch of belief, it is the epoch of incredulity. It is the season of light, it is the season of darkness. It is the spring of hope, it is the winter of despair. We have everything before us, we have nothing before us. We are all going direct to heaven, we are all going direct the other way. In short, the period is so far like the one when some of its noisiest anchors insist on their pearls of wisdom being received to superlative plaudits only. While our affluent TV anchors strut on the small screen, purveying Sarkari propaganda, one can only recall the days when news used to be a genuine product of honest journalism, when entertainment was soothing, thought-provoking and essentially directed towards nation building. But those days have gone, perhaps forever. Let us have a look at the medium which is struggling to make a comeback in popularity stakes, while the glamorous mainstream TV channels happily loll in the laps of their political corporate masters, yapping as directed. Radio, the old hag, once the empress of airwaves, is straining to climb out of history's dustbin. The radio is a child of the historical invention when Guglielmo Marconi got the first patent on radio sets in March 1897. It became a technology that benefited ships in distress on the high seas. During the First World War, the radio played a crucial role in communicating with the soldiers on the battlefront. As is their wont, Americans converted this strategic technology into a money spinner. In America, there is a company named KDKA. It established a commercially licensed radio station and made its first broadcast on November 2, 1920. 2 years later, BBC made its first broadcast on November 14, 1922. The radio arrived in India when the Presidency Club of Madras, now Chennai, established its first radio facility in 1924. Some business persons in Bombay, now Mumbai, established the Indian Broadcasting Company and established a proper radio broadcasting facility on July 23, 1927. And a similar facility was established in Calcutta, now it is called Kolkata, in August 1926. In those days, there were only about 3,000 licensed radio owners in India. That offered very little scope for revenue generation. The IBC folded up in 1930, but natural. The colonial government took over its broadcasting facilities and launched the Indian State Broadcasting Service, ISBS. Lionel Fielden assumed charge of the ISBS in August 1935. His tenure laid the foundations for a magnificent and enduring infotainment superstructure. He was whimsical but had the gift of thinking out of the box. He defied the government to ensure that the radio service represented the voice of India, at least that voice of India which he thought was genuine. 8 June 1936, the ISBS was renamed All India Radio. Today it is known as Akashvani, the celestial voice. Interestingly, a Congress radio was set up on September 3, 1942 by Usha Mehta, around the time when the Quit India movement was launched. It claimed to be from somewhere in India and played a cat and mouse game with the police as the radio station was portable. In 1956, 9 years after India's independence, the name Akashvani was adopted for the national broadcaster. Some claim this name was borrowed from a poem by Rabindranath Tagore. However, a radio station named Akashvani had already been established in Mysore in September 1935. From a mere 6 at the time of independence, All India Radio now has over 400 radio stations catering to India's entire population in 23 languages and over 140 dialects. Its External Service Division broadcasts programs to over 100 countries. It took AIR 7 years to launch Vivid Bharati, the entertainment channel, to counter Radio Ceylon, which had become immensely popular in India. And it was thanks to some of the myopic policies of the then government, which thought that filmy songs or film songs should not be broadcast on the national broadcaster in the beginning. But at least after 7 years, the good sense prevailed. Though Radio Ceylon was a challenge, no doubt, but the real challenge came in the shape of television. Revenues from private advertisers fell as these were now diverted to TV channels. Private TV channels spelt AIR's doom as a viable commercial entity. After flapping in darkness for years, radio made a strong comeback in India in 1995 when AIR's FM channels began broadcasting. In 1999, the government announced a liberalized policy to expand FM radio broadcasting through private sector. These shows, apart from providing entertainment, are also supposed to supplement the AIR's efforts at spreading socially beneficial or relevant information. But their programming is unoriginal and second-rate, to put it mildly. The desire to take on internet-based infotainment platforms is missing. The radio jockeys are happy retailing idiocies. AIR's only source of revenue is government ads, which is not enough to sustain the giant entity. Private sector advertisers seek such programming and promotions that would help build their brands naturally. For this, a high level of innovative skills is required. Although private FM channels have made some interesting innovations in brand promotions, I won't call them trailblazing, just merely interesting. AIR mandarins are still floundering in a quagmire of bureaucracies. They are just not able to grasp the importance of the medium they are managing or running. Now let us compare it with the United States, where radio is holding its own against TV and OTT platforms. The following figures of weekly listeners indicate the popularity of some of the American radio programs. The Rush Limbaugh Show, it has got about 15.5 million listeners. The Sean Hannity Show, it has 15 million listeners. Marketplace Financial News, it has got around 15 million listeners. All Things Considered also has got around 15 million listeners. The Dave Ramsey Show, it has got 14 million listeners. Morning Edition has got 13.9 or around 14 million listeners. And the Market Levin Show has got 11 million listeners. And these statistics are about a year or two old. Our radio shows are unable to match even these figures. And what are those figures? Nobody knows. Because no reliable figures regarding India's radio listenership are available. But one can gauge the situation from the fact that Prime Minister Modi's Mann Ki Baat on the radio has to be simultaneously relayed on obliging mainstream TV news channels to stimulate people's interest. That is a very telling commentary on the reach of the radio station. It is time for AIR to give serious thought to improving the quality of its programs. Unless you give quality programs, nobody is going to listen. They will come there because they are able to relate to the programs. There was a time when AIR was overflowing with creativity. Its dramas, based on excellent literature, provided quality entertainment. There is a need to re-establish AIR's credentials as a formidable infotainment giant of the 21st century India. Ad revenue will start flowing in as a natural consequence. You cannot wait for ad revenue to flow in and then do some innovations. You have to go the other way around. You have to give really good radio programs which are actually radio programs and which will attract listeners, and that is the only way.